Fox 13 Chief Meteorologist Paul Delegano with your Sky Tower radar forecast.
Pretty quiet weather day today. A couple showers. Winds are turning to the south, which we would expect. That's a direction we would expect for a storm that's passing to our west. Kind of not really the beginning, but the overall circulation now, just slowly beginning to kind of feel the impacts of a developing hurricane, a tropical storm in the Caribbean Sea. 91 today, so at least because of clouds and showers today, a little bit cooler than we've had the past couple of days. We'll have some cooler weather because of clouds and rain on the way. Most areas are dry, but the increase in storms here. Tomorrow, when we show you some Sky Tower views during the day, well, first we'll have thickening clouds, and then we'll notice just bands of rain kind of coming in from the southeast and kind of moving north as the day moves along tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, with the hurricane west of us, that's when the winds will pick up from the south, and then they'll start going southwest when the storm goes up here, and that's going to start pulling up some pretty high water along our west coast. Now, if you're watching us inland, and a lot of you are, this could be mainly tropical storm force winds for you. Power outages, I think power outages and isolated tornadoes are the biggest threat across inland areas, and of course, all that's bad. We don't want to see power outages, but we're really concerned about, loss of life and staying safe, and that's where the storm surge comes into play. And Ian was only a year ago, and you can go on YouTube and look at all the videos of the storm surge flooding and people that wanted to stay and go through the storm surge flooding and what a bad experience that was. Bottom line is, I can't force you to leave, but if you're in an evacuation zone, you're told to leave, you probably should. And hopefully the storm heads further west or doesn't develop as much. We don't get a big storm surge event. But right now, it looks like some high water on our west coast. 80s and low 90s in most spots right now. We've gone back to infrared now. Still have this big burst of convection. These cloud tops are about 90 degrees below 0 centigrade. They look hot because of the red, but they're actually cold. Cold cloud tops show up in this color. And also the lightning firing up right around the center. And that is an indicator of a developing storm. We should have this be a hurricane. It may happen really next hour or two, depending on what the recon flight finds when it gets into the system. 5 o'clock advisory, 21.4, 85.1. Top winds is 70. There's a developing high east of us. Check out Franklin. Category 4, just on its own, low shear environment, warm water, and kind of drifting north. And then we have Idalia in the Caribbean Sea. Here's the track forecast reasoning. Building high east of us, there's going to be a trough. So what we're going to be watching for and really kind of babysitting the storm up to landfall is for any deviation of the track. Now, back on the Weather Center, what we'll do on a screen is put little points on the eye and make sure this is following that line or the projected track. We did that with Charlie, and me and Howard Shapiro, going way back in time, saw a shift to the east, and we actually said, this storm's turning. It ended up making landfall well south of Tampa Bay, even when the forecast landfall point was still Tampa Bay. So we'll do the same thing with Idalia and just make sure it stays on that track. This is the trough that we hope is not deep enough or strong enough to turn the storm to the east. So that, again, we'll be watching for. Don't want to get caught off guard. Storm surge predictions, all of this numbers could go up or down depending on the exact landfall point. The biggest storm surge is point of landfall and then to the right, or in this case, kind of to the south. And if the storm makes landfall here, the numbers here go down and the numbers here go up. If it makes landfall over here, some of these numbers start getting lower and then they get higher over here. So it's really, this is probably going to be adjusted depending on the exact track of the storm. Wind gust forecast, this is from the European model. I would use it mainly as a guide because it's an okay forecast. I don't put a lot of faith in it, but it's just a general 50 to 60 gust Wednesday morning at 5 a.m. and lower speeds inland. If the storm is a bit closer, then you talk 70, 80, 90, and that's keeping the core of the hurricane off the coast. That is really what's important, is not getting anyone in our viewing area in that eye wall. Partly cloudy near 80 tonight. Tomorrow, thickening clouds, increasing wind and rain. And then after a bad Tuesday night, the winds diminish on Wednesday. Tropical downpours in 83. 7-day forecast, rough Tuesday into Wednesday, improving Thursday and Friday.